Hello, this is part two of my journal for the day. Oh damn, Myanmar. So thousands of Muslims just ran away from a bunch of tribals in Myanmar. See, there's always like violence everywhere you go, and you know what? It's always about resources, man. It's never about the culture. It's never about like the land you own. It's always about the things that people leave behind. So human beings, I don't understand humanity at all. We're the only species that I'm aware of that cannibalizes itself for materialistic goods. I've compared this behavior to snails, because whenever snails see one of their comrades dead, they all like group around the dead snail and eat it to preserve the species. And I think that's where cannibalism kind of like stems from, dude. Like when there's not enough food and you have to eat the dead, your own kind to survive. But only like a very small percentage of human beings can cannibalize, dude. The rest will get mad human disease and go crazy. So very few humans have been able to eat other humans and retain sanity. Doesn't mean like it's just a survival trait that was developed in extreme times, man, when there was nobody, nothing, when all the humans started dying off, man. They cannibalized the dead humans just so they can keep going that much further, so they can get to their next, food, resource, food, because that's what resources are essentially: food, energy. And for some reason, man, how does 1% of the world own all the resources? That makes zero sense to me. Now, how is that possible? That that a small like group of people, let's say like they're like this big, dude, like compared to the whole that is like humanity, like this big, like this little circle right here owns all the resources. I'm sorry, I'm fucking this up. So I kind of have this thing like this small group of people that represent 1% of humanity, this tiny little circle of human beings, owns all the resources. And the bigger picture is all of us, we own so little. So tell me, how is it that the law caters to their will, to their desire, to their well being, while we sit amongst each other fighting over nothing? I think I know who's behind the division. It's the elites, the wealthy ones, the men and women who can do no wrong. They're above morality. They're above humanity. They're above everything and anyone. No, I'm sorry, man, but if I ever cared about anyone, I would not let these people get away with this. For the sake of my future children, for the sake of all future children, I waged war with the elites, psychologically, biologically. Oh, biology. Yeah. Biological warfare is extremely fun. Yeah, there's nothing better than selling like a bunch of drugs to rich kids, dude. They're my number one clients. I don't sell drugs anymore, but my tribe does. Like, the majority of poor people sell drugs to rich kids, dude. My friend died from a drug overdose. That's why I stopped selling drugs. Wherever you are, Eric, I miss you, man. And yeah, I do fucking hate drug addicts, but I didn't know you were one. Like, honestly, I don't think he even was a drug addict. I think he just tried heroin and died. You know, that's how dangerous the drugs are, man. Like, they can kill you so fast. And these wealthy people, like, that's what I mean, man. I mean, I'll be fair. I'll be fair. The majority of wealthy, like people, Americans in the world, the majority of men and women who have like vast amounts of resources in their name, they're good people. Like they're not gonna fuck you over. They're not. They're gonna. You know, their reputation precedes them. You know, they are wealthy people, wealthy in mind, wealthy in heart, and wealthy in soul. The people I'm talking about are elitist. They only believe in one thing: absolute power. And the only way you can achieve that is by having slaves. Now, these elitists are basically human traffickers. And they have been for generations. And I don't know who protects them. It must be like a slave, like one of the what's it? Okay, I'm going to use a really offensive term, only because I haven't like found a more proper term to define it yet. But I believe people would refer to these human traffickers and the men and women who work for them as house niggers, living their servants who sold themselves to their master because they wanted exactly what they had. Now, these servants, these slaves who enslave other people, they're the closest thing to what I would think is a dehumanizing experience. Like these people dehumanize themselves just so they can have their luxury. And these are the people who became masters of the elites. The very slaves who were enslaved by the elites became the elites. And that's why I'm not really fighting history. It's more like I'm struggling to get these people to understand that they were the slaves. Then when the masters died off, they just took their place. And so history doesn't repeat itself. You're just assuming its role. Either way, I don't think slavery will ever end. I think there's always, as long as human beings exist, there'll always be beings who seek to, there'll always be human beings who want to put other humans in chains. You know what I mean? It has everything to do with sexual slavery. And then, you know, everything. And you see, that's why human beings go to war with each other, because slavery is real. The new trigger word is racism, but that's how they got black people to become slaves. They basically made them so pissed off, so angry, dude, they forgot where they were in society, and then they sold themselves to their masters just so they can get back at their enemies. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's the tactics of stupid. Always trying to fucking use hate as a motivator. Always trying to use like people for their emotions. But this is how I know stupid is the most broken human being on this earth. And you know why stupid's so dumb? Because we've always been here the whole time, and yet we're not good enough for stupid. Well, that's a load of shit, and I'm gonna prove stupid wrong. No matter if stupid's a girl or a boy. I have a feeling stupid's a girl, though, because fucking every man I talk to would fucking just punch me in the face, and I would just laugh. I mean, thank you for hitting me. Yeah. Even the crackhead who I got in an argument with at the park, like, I have more respect for him because he was willing to fight me for no reason. I did have a problem with him calling me a pedophile. I'll leave that story for another time. But I just realized, man, as long as humanity has this caste system where I'm better, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, you're all lesser than me, like, you know, we're not equals in society, there are consequences. There's always going to be some form of slavery with these people, man. And you know what? That's what's going to wipe out humanity, is that need, that desire to control another living thing. You know, that's why a human being would betray another. Because I don't want to be wrapped in chains. Mentally, spiritually, physically. Ugh. And you know what? The worst kind of slave is the one who volunteers for it. So just like Stupid Man, he volunteered. Or she became like a puppet for a bunch of wealthy men and women who literally have never seen the world beyond their gilded cage. I told woman I would kill her for believing in such a fucked up small world, man. But then again, my cage, well, I don't know. I destroyed my cage, and it's a funny story about a tiger in a cage. Turns out you can outgrow your cage. It turns out if you if you just wait long enough, and enough time passes by, the cage will rust. The bars will begin to rot. The metal will corrode. Yet the tiger remained immortal. Pretty soon, the bars corroded to nothing. The jungle started, coming back to the tiger. And then the tiger was free again. It's funny how human beings they just love cages, man. And I can't stand them. I will never understand why another human being would design a cage for himself. But then again, what's meant to protect is also meant to trap you. Oh, update on that hurricane in Houston, by the way. It's called Harvey. It's like a Cat 4. I've never seen Texas so covered. That's Houston, Texas right now. Yeah, isn't that like fucked? Oh my god, dude. I've never seen Texas like so covered. Like, oh, let me mix that. Go back to that one. But I've never seen Texas like that before. That's insane, dude. Like, I've never. Oh my god, dude! It's like Noah's Ark. Like, I've never seen like flooding that big, that where it like covered the entire like state of Texas. This is definitely biblical times, man. And the biblical times were the best times because there was such like calamitous environment, which was really fun because the land is always entertaining. Like, it will never bore you. There's always something that will get you going. Now, what bores me is another human being, though, because for some reason, like I was talking earlier, the wealthy ones, the wealthy people who love their cages, even though they're just gilded, like really, like I see these wealthy people who live in like luxury yachts, luxury skyscrapers, luxury everything, yet they live in a prison. You don't feel close to anyone except to your possessions. And you know what? That's so sad because that means you're a slave to your own possessions. Alright, I'm gonna move on to part 3 because it's another 15-minute one, so I'll be back.